So you've been dating a guy for a while. You're not really sure whether you're friends, whether he's your boyfriend, or whether you're friends with benefits. I know that you've all been in this situation, as have I. Our sex expert, Dorothy, is joining me in studio to let us all know when the right time is to have the talk. Dorothy.
Hi, Jen. The right time to have the talk is when you feel like it's time to have the talk.
I knew you were going to say that.
Look, you know what? I think I have a 3-shag rule. Okay. And that is like, if you've had sex with someone more than 3 times, then it is time to talk about what's going on. And that doesn't mean you need to talk like, are we emotionally involved? It's just like, how do you feel about exclusivity? Is this, are you seeing other people? Are you dating other people? The talk, whenever it is just about an exchange of information.
Well, do you find that women are more afraid to have the talk?
Sure. I think women, because I think culturally we've been kind of programmed, you know, it's that whole thing with men have leadership skills, but women are bossy. And
you don't want to seem too clingy, and you don't want him to think like, oh.
And I think that's rubbish.
Right.
I think it's absolutely rubbish. I think we've kind of been molded to believe that talking about your emotional needs is somehow over the top, that it's too clingy, that it's too needy. And yet, to me, it's the most adult thing to do.
Yes.
You need to find out where you are in your life.
Exactly.
It's just about having a conversation.
I always tell people, you're not a mind reader.
Right.
You know, you can't just imagine what that person is thinking.
Right, and yet everybody does.
Yes.
And then months down the line, they're like, oh, they're seeing somebody else. Well, did you have the talk? Did you discuss whether you were like exclusive? No, but we just kind of thought. Just kind of thought. That doesn't mean anything. No. Nobody just kinds of thinks of a relationship.
And you can't just assume. I hate when people say, well, just assume.
Yeah, right. He just assumed monogamy. You know my dad used to say, everybody says this, I hate this.
Is it you make an ass
of me? Every time he says, I'm like, roll my eyes. But the fact is that you can't assume. No one's telepathic. And this isn't about being needy, clingy, over the top. It is literally just finding out where you are, whether you're on the same page. And that is taking responsibility for yourself. And if someone wants to go, oh my God, I think you're just being so clingy and so needy, then you need to find out or question whether that person is adult enough to be in an adult relationship. Because I think any adult would want to know where they are, if the person they're with is on the same page. So then you can make decisions about whether you want to stay with that person or not. Because if you're not on the same page, then you can decide, is it time to end it? Is it time to make certain arrangements? Do you start seeing other people? Do you start dating other people? And you know, this isn't just about dating. There are many next level conversations.
Now, that's obviously for dating. That's to establish if you're in a relationship, if you're not in a relationship. But the talk comes up while you're in a relationship. It always comes up. It can come up when it comes to marriage.
Right.
It can come up with various different things.
Right. It can come up with anything. So it can come up. Look, to me, the talk isn't just one talk. The fact is you should be having lots of talks with your partner throughout your relationship to kind of always be bouncing off how are you feeling about stuff. After all, that is why you're in a relationship, because you can have these conversations with the person you're with. So the talk ends up being lots of little talks, and that can be about, honey, I'd like to think about having a threesome. That could be a talk. Or I'd like to think about moving in together, or splitting finances. I think when we think about the talk, it's kind of like those very sticky, vulnerable spaces where we need to kind of go, this is what I need, this is what I want, and this is where I kind of see it going. And I think there are a lot of emotions and feelings wrapped up in that, and that's why we kind of blow it up to be the talk thing. Yeah.
Do you find people don't always approach the talk in a manner that is conducive to carry out the conversation?
Yeah, and I think, I do, because I think we've kind of blown up this, you know, women are needy, and if they have the conversation, and then guys, I think, often slip into that role of like, oh, the talk, you know, I just want to watch rugby or whatever. I think that is unfair on both parties, because most men also have feelings and also want to talk about stuff. It's just that we've hyped it up into this thing. So kind of bottling something up until you're ready to blurt it out at the most inopportune moment, usually during a fight when you've disagreed about something, is not the way to go. Rather, when you start thinking about it, set a time to have a conversation about it and say, listen, I've been thinking about something, I want to talk about this, can we make a date for Wednesday, go for dinner, just have a chat. There's nothing, you don't have to make it a big drama. It's not a drama. it's literally just exchanging information. That's all it is. So if you make it a huge drama in your head and you start thinking and dialoguing and he's going to say this and then he's going to say that and then I should say this, blah, 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 it's just going to be a riot in your head, and it's going to be a riot when it comes out of your mouth. So it's just a conversation. Set a time, set a date, sit down and have a conversation that is as simple as, I was just thinking about, boom, whatever it is.
Now, that's on the woman's side.
Yeah.
Do you recommend couples should actually set a time to sit down and talk? Maybe have it scheduled in so there's a time where they can sit down and talk. Each partner can just say how they're feeling about the relationship.
Yeah, like a date night thing, I suppose.
Is that necessary?
You know what? I don't know. Look, it depends for each couple. Maybe some couples are just so incredibly busy that they need to set time, like absolutely diarize. Sort of quality time together. Yeah. And if that's the case and you need to do that every week, then you do that. There is no one set way of like running a relationship or managing a relationship or your communication from one relationship. Everybody's got their own thing. It's just that you need communication. And it's not just that women need to have these conversations, it's that men also need to have these conversations. This is certainly not a gender bias thing.
Right.
We need to communicate. And so whether you feel like you need to schedule time regularly for it or it's something you can slip into the conversation whenever, you do what's best for you and you do what's best for your relationship.
I know a lot of my girlfriends, when it comes to having one of the big talks, they get afraid and they put it off and they think, well, what if he says this or what if he says that?
Yeah.
What should be the first step for someone who thinks that, or for someone who finds it hard to speak about how they're feeling?
Stop. That's why you just stop.
Yeah.
The dialogue inside your head is going to drive you nuts.
Yes.
And you know what the other problem is that if you think about it too long, it's going to take you, you're going to be thinking about it for months. And then you're going to blindside your partner because you've been thinking about it for months and he's going to say this and she's going to say that and then I should say this. And you're going to make this whole thing and then you're just going to vomit it all out with your expectations of what you think they're going to say. You're going to be thinking about conversations you had and the perfect one-liners instead of just doing what you should be doing, which is, here is some information, then I'm going to stop and listen to what you're saying. So if you find your head running away with dialoguing, just stop. It's as simple as stopping, deciding what it is you want to talk about, and sitting with your partner as soon as possible and having that conversation.